Thanks, Nicola. Interesting to see you recognise that the projects we were doing on flexible working back in the 1990s prepared the ground for the hybrid model that you envisage in the next normal. Now we come to the first of two case studies. How are people actually making this work for them and for their clients? First up, we're going to hear from Mitie. In recent years, they've been a regular innovator, using technology to enhance the effectiveness of our traditional services. How are they responding to the return to work challenge? Let's hear from Chief Operating and Commercial Officer for Mitie Technical Services. It's Dan Guest.
So thank you for that introduction, Martin. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We've got a 20-minute session today to talk about the key role we play as an FM community in supporting people back into the workplace. My name is Dan Guest. If you don't know me, my role at Mitie is to manage the operations and growth, including technology and the really exciting part of innovation in our technical area of our business. I've been with Mitie nearly 10 years now, and more than ever, we're starting to see technology play a key part in the workplace, but particularly over the last 12, 18 months. It's been great to see people innovating and creating new ways of working. It's an exciting time for FM. We've played a huge role, and I don't think it can be underestimated, in the last 12, 18 months, supporting people through the pandemic, whether it's workplace or just our own people, to feel comfortable. And those frontline heroes have been amazing in terms of, again, being out there, making sure that our companies and our country can keep moving forward. I think most people on here will be FM leaders of some sort. And I want to take some time today to step back and step away a little bit from the regulation, from the guidelines that we look at usually, and start to focus a little bit on the people side of things, how we give confidence to those people to come back into our workplace. So hopefully everyone's familiar with the not FM tool of the hierarchy of needs, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's more relevant than ever now. And actually people are starting to look at safety and psychological safety as a really key factor. Not that it's ever not been, but COVID has been one of the biggest catalysts for change that we'll have seen in generations. And hopefully we see no more of these changes, but look, we need to take stock and use this as an opportunity to reset. We need to focus on the psychological safety side to build confidence with our people and help people feel comfortable and confident to come back into the workplace where they can collaborate and engage with their peers. We've not only got a contract with our people, we've got a psychological contract, a responsibility to those people to understand more than ever their individual needs and what makes them feel comfortable to be back at work. But also what makes them feel comfortable and how they want to work, because not everybody wants to work in the same way anymore. A recent study looking at Harvard Review study looked at three key areas that people are really focused on as they come back into the workplace. Their cause and purpose. More than ever, people have started to look at what's happened throughout COVID. Everyone's been impacted in different ways, personally, as a company, and they want to see that, get that source of pride back from their business, their industry, and that meaningful impact that company makes. We need to help them with that. Their sense of community in some places has been lost. People have had to work from home, through Zoom, through various other tools to make sure that they are engaging with their colleagues. We've had lots of new people come into the workplace. And actually creating that sense of community is different now. And we need to think about how we drive that connection and belonging moving forward. And people's careers are still really important. Whilst they are now looking at their work-life balance as a whole, how they can help, their motivation, their drive, still really important to people as they come back into work. So, as property leaders, we've got a much bigger opportunity to think about inclusivity. So ask yourself, is your organisation truly inclusive? What does inclusion mean to you? Traditionally, it meant inclusivity around age, sex, gender, disability, religion, race, lots of really important factors that we need to, of course, still make sure are vital to our operation to make sure that we have a diverse way of thinking, of engaging, of moving forward as a company, an FM business, as a customer, a colleague, etc. But how do we expand on this? How's COVID changed inclusivity? And does our thinking change with that? Can we be confident our workplaces post-pandemic, our working environments, whether they be home or in the office, are really inclusive, really enable people to get the best out of the people that work for us? Everybody's got a different view now. Things have changed. People's views have changed because of safety, because of family, because of their motivation, and what they see has changed in the world. And therefore, we've got a key role to play in helping that change. COVID has impacted all of us in a different way. It's impacted our expectations, needs, and people's demands have changed on the back of it. People demand safety, and they demand that as an employer, you give them that comfort and that confidence. If we look at some of the research and studies recently commissioned, it's clear that well-being and mental health are a priority. Mind have declared a mental health emergency. The digital divide's widened, with 22% of the UK plummeted into isolation due to digital tools and skills. We have to remember that not every role needed that digital approach before. And over the last 12 and 18 months, it really has. So we've got a role to play in enabling the next 12 to 18 months and the future to bring people back into a safe environment to work together. That generation divide is growing. People are starting to have different priorities. Parents looking after their children, millennials looking for different priorities in their job as they move forward. And obviously the economy has been massively impacted. But I think back on my career, I certainly benefited from being in the office and spending time with people that had much more experience, that had different experiences that you could collaborate and learn from. But we're now faced with that complete different view of how to work. Some want to work remotely, some want to be in the office, some want that flexible blend. How do we enable all of those to come together, but also not make decisions too quickly and give everybody complete flexibility? Because that doesn't help certain people that really want to be there, engage and learn from their peers. I think people's real focus is now driven by slightly different things. Some people by health and fear and expectation. Every demographic's got a different view. We need to understand that. As humans, that social interaction is essential to all aspects of our health. We need to provide the environment for everybody to feel comfortable, safe, and enable them to thrive. Let's face it, the work we do in facilities, in property management, is to enable our people to be the best that they can be. There's no point having an amazing facility with the right environment if people don't feel comfortable to come and work there. So let's just take a second and pause and ask ourselves the question: do you really think your organisation's done all it can for our colleagues? I appreciate through COVID, those demands have been different. People have had to react and support and change the way we work. But moving forward, looking to the future, have we done everything we can to make an inclusive workplace? Does your roadmap of how lockdown considers inclusivity in your building, is it clear of how we're going to enable people to get everything they want? Considering all the things we've talked about, or I've talked about, is it clear on what people actually want? I think there's various studies that show us, but is it really clear on what your people want? I'm sure it's different for everyone. And have we lost that human factor in the race to be safe and compliant? Of course, safety and compliance has been the priority over the last 12, 18 months, and will remain a key priority moving forward. It always should be. But that mental side of this, the psychological factors that come into play, are also really important, and we can't underestimate the role we've got to play in that. So, it's okay for me to ask the questions. Have you considered these things? But it's really important that we do, and as FM leaders, we can make the difference. You know, there's some key areas around empathy and confidence. We need to ask our colleagues what they want, what they need, because right now what they need will be hugely different from what they would have said in summer when we were in lockdown. People were enjoying the weather, It was a new thing. Whilst there was lots of negative things going on at the same time, it wasn't something that had carried on for 12, 18 months. We've now been here, we've been through a winter. People are starting to get anxious and want to get back to normality as much as we can. Will we ever be back to normality? We don't know. But actually, this is the opportunity to listen again and really understand each individual's needs, each individual's priorities, and then start to share that information of how we help shape the future of the workplace. So we've now got a seat at the table. People recognise the key importance that the facility side of their business offer. And that property landscape, the blend of options we can provide based on data, insight, based on what the science is telling us, and also what our people are telling us. This is our real opportunity to make a difference for those people and for the workplace. And giving people confidence is not just words. It's not just telling people what we've done. It needs to be visible. People need to see that reassurance. So whether it's the quality of the air, whether it's the change of air that happens within a building, the technology we use to help people be safe and comfortable, and that science and that data and backup that we really make visual. It's okay, this stuff happening, but more than ever, what we do needs to be visual and really powerfully communicated to people to give them the confidence so that they can get back and start to work together. So what have we done? I have taken a step back and looked at, asked these questions of myself and of ourselves at Mitie. I've looked at, are we really making the difference? Are we doing the things that I've talked about today? And some of the things that we heard from our own people and from others across the board have really given us insight into this. So I've touched on some of these points. I'm just going to expand a little bit more on what we've done to make a difference. So wellness and well-being is at the forefront of people's minds, and giving them that reassurance starts from home. And we'll talk about technology. I'll talk about technology in a minute, of how we've utilised technology to give people that comfort. People have been used to working at home, where everything's comfortable, everything's to hand. They don't have to travel, they don't have to commute, they don't have to book a space, a desk, a room. And that nice frictionless experience is important. That standards have just been raised and the expectations have been raised of our industry. I think our colleagues want that collaborative, inclusive working environment, and they've for so long been isolated, but the fear factor doesn't change that. So we have to create that environment and give them confidence that they can do that without being afraid to come back to work. It's okay that the government are changing the rules and things have changed, and I hope things continue to change. But I think the message is clear that whether it's COVID or infection of the future or any other issues are going to be more relevant, are going to be more visual. People are going to be more cautious around change for the future. I think a safe, controlled way back into a building, a safe environment, knowledge and understanding of what's going on in that building, and the hygiene factor of the building, the cleanliness of that building is going to be so much more important than it's ever been. Again, go back to the comparison of our home. We know who comes into our home. We know how often it's cleaned, and we're in control of that. But we put that trust into the FM provider, into the business owner moving forward. Coming back into the workplace, we give that trust to somebody else. And to make that work, we need back from those people the confidence, the visibility, and the actions they've taken. So we've talked a lot. I've talked a lot about what we can do, what we need to think about. What have we actually done at Mitie? That's what I've been asking myself, how we can work differently to give people the confidence, as I've discussed, as I've explained, to come back into the workplace. That starts with the design and layout. Do we need to change things to make it feel more collaborative? Do we need to look at the space itself? And yes, we have. We've looked at how we can reshape the space we've got to enable people to work together more effectively. But then that journey starts, as I said, from when the person wakes up. We give people confidence using technology and our app area that enables people to look at booking a desk, a room, a space, a car park space, means that they know they can come in, find a collaborative space to work, know who they'll be working near if they need to work with somebody, and get that confidence straight away that they can easily get into the office. That frictionless experience that they don't have to think about when they're at home. So we try and make it as easy as possible in the workplace. They know, because of the communications we've been putting out, that we're checking temperature, that we have technology on site to make sure that we're keeping them as safe as possible. We have screens around the building that show people the temperature, the CO2, the air changes that are going through our offices, so that, again, the science we've shared with them already through communication starts to be backed up in practice, because we're doing this stuff on site to protect our people. And obviously, the cleanliness of the site is really important. So we're using, whether it's various products to protect against COVID from a cleaning perspective, right the way through to the robot cleaners we use that are very visible on site. People can see it happening, but it's also making sure that interaction is less, that people are having the room to collaborate and work without having more people around them in the day. If people need that on-site demand clean, they can request that through their technology. They can book something to be changed and cleaned between a meeting or a session. But also, we're using technology and UVC to make sure that we can also show people a real visible change. UVC has been adopted across all our offices around surface-based cleaning that uses UVC light to clean the surfaces and give people, again, more confidence that we're using everything we can to make the space as safe as possible, right the way through to the air throughout our office being cleaned constantly by UVC devices. So what we offer to our people is the ability to come back in, to collaborate, to know who they're going to work with, to safely travel into the office, knowing, again, that the space they're coming into is clean, is disinfected, the air is clean, and we're constantly monitoring that to put them first. Hopefully, that gives them the confidence that they can do the best they can for the company, that they can support our customers, that they can work with their colleagues, and really make sure that that collaboration is back, and that mental health side of things, the social interaction that we know is so important, is back to a level that people feel comfortable doing that. So that's some of the insight as to what we've done. There's so much more to do, and there's so much more we can do as a team. So ask yourself, how will you make the difference? That's a question that I've asked myself, that we continue to ask ourselves in Mitie. How can we make the difference for people to feel safe and comfortable? What's right now might be different in the future, and we need to use technology, science, and data to keep asking ourselves that question. How can we continue to innovate to support businesses around the world to be safe and comfortable and move forward in the right way? It's been great to talk to everybody, and happy to answer any questions in our Q&A session. Thank you.